Hey guys, this is Eric Weingarten with Weingarten Racing. I'm going to try to do videos each time I port a set of heads so you can kind of see what's going on, and I will somewhat give you information on if you were to port them. But anyway, we'll start off with this head. This is an AFR 235, so that's what it looks like, kind of. The customer sent me this head and asked me to port it, and I thought I'd share some stuff with you about it. So out of the box, I just out of bad luck, I didn't flow this exact head, but I already have copies of flowing one just like this anyway. Out of the box, they flow in the 320s. I know AFR claims higher, they just don't. Well, the numbers are pretty good, but anyway, that's what it is. This is the 235 with the 70cc chamber. Now, here's what I've done to it. First thing you could tell here, I milled off 20 thousandths, and that should give him a 67cc chamber. You know, I took off an extra couple thousandths because one of the first things I do before I start porting is put my own valve job on it. I changed it from a 45-degree valve job to both 50 on the intake and exhaust. It seems like it helped it. There was no really spot besides maybe at 1/10 of an inch of valve lift where it lost flow. Some things to help you out when you're porting this, if you chose to do this, and I'll give you numbers at the end. The first thing is, if you're wanting to get great numbers out of it, you better have a seat and guide machine and a custom cutter. Because if you think you can just get out a grinder and start grinding away and achieve the results on this, you're not. I know it sounds weird. You're like, no, it's the porting. The valve job is probably one of the more critical things as far as flow goes. It took me a while when I first started many years ago to realize this. So yeah, you could make some improvements, but without doing your own valve job with your own custom cutters that you've designed to work with things, you'll never achieve these results. You just won't. So anyway, I put my own valve job on it first, and I started grinding. From that point, I tried to make the bowl wider, but I'll warn you, there's plenty of material between the exhaust bowl and the intake bowl, and usually on my Brodix ones, I don't take so much on the exhaust side so I can push the intake bowl over. Well, there's not enough room on these to do it just because they were already CNC ported. So very little material is removed from here. I mean, very little. So most of it came from this is called the common wall. So you can see how much received. There's a tube in there, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So I ground that there. You shouldn't hit any water if you go as far as that goes. I'm just making the bowl wider, and what that do will slow the airspeed so it can make the turn, because these are pretty fast heads anyway. And then I'll flip around and show you. Here's the intake side. Okay. What I did, as you can see, that's this head bolt sleeve in there. I put those in. Some people don't. I do because I really think it helps with the live engine. On the flow bench, actually flows better with it out because you just put a bolt through and it looks like it's flowing better. But on a live engine, you're trying to rub from this port to flow into this port, and I've seen more power gain by putting a sleeve in. Can't say everybody's seen that. Couple things on this part though, if you were to port it. If you notice, I'm trying to do two things at once. There we go. If you notice, you could see the head was sandblasted. This whole part right here, I did not even touch at all. This is the push rod pinch. And the reason why it's so thin here, like right through there on that bump, that you're just gonna grind through. So it's better just to not even touch that. Because as much as I'd like to have more area there, it just isn't gonna happen. The only way you can get area there is you could raise up the ports, but there's not a lot of room. Or you can move this side wall over, but it's already thin here and you won't have enough room for gaskets. Although I've seen some heads, oh my gosh, where it's like thin as a paper between here. And my only thought is good luck holding the gasket in there. And also if you get like a 1206 gasket and then you got to trim all that out, there's nothing there. So I don't like that. This is about as thin as I would ever go. So that's the only way you can get area, at least, is go up, can't, not enough room. Down, nope, not enough room. I mean, you could go a little bit. You go this way, you want to be in the push rod. This way, it's already thin enough. So you're kind of stuck with what it is. So that's kind of the downside. From there, I did widen the port out to match the bowl. And I'll tell you, I'm going to try to put my finger in here. There, right here where my tip of my finger is. Don't go down. There's water right there. Now this head's nowhere near it, but in past heads, I have screwed up some just to see what was there. Water there, so don't. So you can go wide to an extent because there's also water there, but definitely water here. Actually right there. So be careful on that. Hopefully that kind of helps. Now on the exhaust side, I think AFR needs to do something different with their cores too. I made the bowl wider here, but got to be careful because there's water there, and especially here. So you can make it wider, but I could feel in there. Their core, just Brodix has way more meat here. Maybe less for water cooling, but way less chance of you hitting water. AFR, right? If you got too really aggressive, you would hit water. I then raised up the exhaust ports here, made a little bit more area this way, and blended it in. Also, the short side shape's been changed. I won't go into it because I don't want to give up some of my secrets, but if you look, maybe you'll see it. And there's that. Okay, I will attach full numbers after it's over, but I'll say this. From the standpoint, my favorite head for one that required stud mount rockers, doesn't require shaft mount rockers, used to be my Brodix Dragon Slayer 242, and it still is. If you're wanting a standard valve spacing head, my best head I offer is my Brodix Dragon Slayer 242 standard. The wing actually makes a little bit more power, but it costs more. But that one is the best, except for this one. Except this is not standard valve spacing. So you said, okay, what can I do better? I just don't want to buy shaft rockers. This is it. The AFR 235, if I port it, it still will use stud mount rockers, although the rocker alignment is a little off. This is not standard valve spacing though. This is the best one, low port of mine. Low port, 23-degree head, stud mount rocker with a different valve spacing. It's best. Its low lift flow numbers are unbelievable. So like the 400 number, I told you I really looked at that one. Excellent. 600, really good. So if you're wanting the best standard valve spacing, my Brodix Dragon Slayer 242. If you're like, you know what, I'd rather do something just a little bit spicier, this one. This is it. But I will also warn you, I know the video's going a little long, but I want to go over a bunch of stuff. Something else to think about with the AFR, just a heads up warning. This spot right here on the chamber, if you have a flat top piston, you're probably fine, except for the valve spacing. You'll have to check with your piston manufacturer and make sure your pistons will work with the 60-40 spacing. That's what this AFR head is. However, if you have a dome, AFR has another problem right there. Brodix heads clear just about any dome imaginable. The AFR, right there, it nails it. So there's specific pistons that are designed for these AFR heads because they sell a bunch of them. And that will clear that. But just something to keep in mind. So if you got an older piston design, maybe before these were out, and you're hoping just to bolt these on, if it's a dome, it may not clear. Flat tops, it's never really an issue as long as it will work with the valve spacing. So anyway, that's that head.